Yes, Dave.
Yo, yeah,
What's going on, man?
How you doing?
I did.
I'm all
I'm
good.
good, thanks, man.
All right, gentlemen, we're all together. You're being recorded, so don't incriminate yourself, I guess. So I'll tell you both a bit about what we're doing. So we run a website called Dropout, and we normally do like online features and podcasts and all that stuff for creative projects, and everything's been put on hold, as I'm sure is the same for you guys a bit. So we thought, how can we work from home and do it? And we thought we'll just do these Skype conversations and see who we can talk to from like different industries, all kinds of backgrounds, and just see what people have to say. And so I think a lot of people, like from maybe musicians or people that work within the music industry, they might be interested to hear how you guys are dealing with stuff, and sort of along those lines. I mean, straight away, I'm thinking for you, Devon, did you have, because you're like an emerging artist at the minute, is this really like, obviously not like destroyed everything, but like has been a real buffer to like, you feel like you were on the edge of something might happen, and now you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely put like a massive like kind of halt in the road, but you know, luckily I'm kind of like at a stage where there's kind of nothing to lose, but also like, you know, there's like if we stopped it now, there's not a massive loss. Like I don't have a huge stadium tour that we're going to lose loads of money on. We're still in those early stages where even if this little halt kind of slowed us up, when we get back on the bandwagon, it's kind of just carrying on as we were. Just it's for me, it was kind of like these 3 weeks that they think was kind of more like time to prepare for me. I think, you know, it gave me like an extra halt on the road, and because it's also halted kind of every other artist, we're all in the same situation. So I don't feel like it's just me that's just kind of being held back and everyone else is shooting forward. I know that if anything, it's given me a chance to kind of catch up with the rest of, you know, all the artists that are kind of, you know, working alongside me.
I think for a lot of people, we're sort of taking comfort in the fact that it has happened to literally everyone. Like, you can get upset and disappointed that stuff's fallen through, but you get that reality check when you see, oh shit, people are dying, people's literally lives have been destroyed.
100%.
And for you just a couple projects, or in your case, like some shows or some songs.
Nothing.
Puts it in perspective, I think. Did you have any like shows planned and stuff that had to be cancelled?
Yeah, we had like a small. It was like my first kind of run of tour dates in May. It was only like 3 or 4 shows, but for me, it was like the first kind of little tour I'd ever had in the diary ready to do, and it was a headline one as well. So, you know, we're looking forward to it. But like you said, it's nothing in compared to like what some people are going through. You know, some people are like losing family and stuff like that. It's like a very real situation. So, you know, something to do with the career isn't much compared to that, you know.
Joe, do you feel anything on your side's been halted? Like, were you feeling in a groove? Because I saw a meme like, did anyone else feel like they were just about to get their life on track? And I think a lot of people like, yeah, fuck.
2020 was the wrong year to sort my shit out for sure. But like, I think for us, like in the industry, yeah, like obviously working with Devon, a lot of stuff has been put on pause now, and that can be quite detrimental when you think we've had like release strategies and plans around singles that are coming out and the tour, and how that's all the momentum we might have built before that has now kind of come to a bit of a grinding halt, and that can be quite obviously quite detrimental when we come to pick this back up again in like 6 months. It could be, and suddenly a lot of that great stuff that we had in the bank is now sort of, you know, it's in the past and people might forget about it. But honestly, from my side, obviously, I'm really, really lucky in the fact that, you know, I work for a big music company. I can work from home. I haven't been impacted as much as a lot of people and a lot of musicians who have actually not just lost the ability to go out and tour and generate revenue that way, but a lot of their part-time jobs have now been cut because a lot of them have to work in the hospitality sector to fund their art and do a lot of things like that. So there's the other side of it where you've got a lot of people in the industry, a lot of the creators in the industry who have been hit really, really hard. The people behind the scenes are normally the ones that are okay working at the record companies. So yeah, you know, it's for us, it's more just projects and we adapt to that really. Like we're going to find new ways to to like have our artists like perform. So Dev's been doing quite a lot of live streams, and we've been doing a lot of stuff online, and it's given us a lot of opportunity to write a lot of music and record new music, which has been really great. So for us, it's more about adapting and overcoming, really. But yeah, it's definitely hit the artist community a lot harder than it has the people in the labels and behind the scenes, for sure.
Devon, I saw you do a little guitar lesson, actually. I was having a look at your stuff.
Yeah.
I don't have a guitar, so I can actually take part. But yeah, you just do more stuff like that, little bits and bobs.
Yeah, for me, I'm taking it as like a chance to really like look at the kind of social media and kind of build my confidence on that, because before I kind of held back a bit with kind of social media and stuff. I've felt quite nervous doing videos, but I feel like this has been a kind of little, I don't know, just awakening to be like, all right, well, let's just focus on this, work it. Use these 3 weeks to kind of make yourself more comfortable, like videos, being more comfortable on platform, talking to people. So I've kind of used it to do the guitar videos, try and come up with ideas to kind of keep people entertained and keep people, you know, in the loop.
This could be a good situation for a lot of people because there's a constraint. But like for a lot of people, this is almost a free hit to try those little bits and bobs. You said you hadn't really done that sort of thing on social media before.
Yeah.
And people might love that stuff. People might be like, oh, Devon's sick because he actually like does these little guitar lessons, he like live streams and stuff. It could be a great opportunity to do that. So I know I've been putting more dumb stuff out on social media myself, just like trying to make people laugh. And I mean, I'm going back to what you said, Joe. I really feel that point about artists, not just music, but having to, well, really struggling because they're hospitality jobs and stuff. I mean, we follow this designer, which we were like super into. We always thought, oh, so legit, someone that we look to and think, oh, we'd like to be like that or doing this and that. And he's just had to get a job at Sainsbury's because all his shit just stopped.
Yeah.
All the jobs he had booked. And it shows how fragile sort of the life cycle month to month is for artists. That you have to then go get a job at Sainsbury's out of nowhere because it's very like hand to mouth, isn't it? A lot of the time. For
Massively. Yeah, I think so. And like, you know, we've seen a lot of similar stuff to our side. Like these people, they really depend on like a lot of this work, and now it's dried up. It's really detrimental to the industry. And I think we just have to make sure that we're still supporting these people as best we can in these trying times.
Yeah, definitely. I've been on YouTube recently and I've seen some shots from like festivals from like past years, and that really gets me. That really, like, people out in the sun listening to good music and having good vibes, that's really hurt. Seeing those good times, and I'm sure, Devon, that would have been something you were looking forward to getting out and having sort of because summer would have been a massive opportunity for you, really, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I was really looking forward to the festival season this year. So it's a bit of a mad one that it's just kind of completely just taken off the radar, and this summer's kind of gonna just fly past without anything like that happening. Obviously, there's a few festivals still going, but this year was like definitely for me an exciting one. Earlier in the year, you know, getting signed and stuff like that, and kind of felt like, all right, this festival season might kind of really start picking up once releases come out. But you know, it is what it is. Just got to kind of take advantage and see the kind of like silver lining of it, and just use whatever like opportunities you have and kind of build on what like you didn't see before. Like we said, like with the social media and stuff, kind of just find what we can build and build that to however strong it can get, I guess.
Social media has all of a sudden become very relevant again, hasn't it? In terms of like people got to a point where they're like, fuck that, get outside, like do this, do that, and now everyone's like, oh shit. Because there's obviously like such a positive power of it. Like the core functionality is so sick. It's just like everyone gets really caught up in like the very negative aspects. Like, we have no choice now. I mean, Joe, me and you we're going to do one again tomorrow. We did the quiz with all the boys. That was awesome. Yeah. That was so fun to do. And we all actually semi felt like you were still like hanging out with the lads. Just us.
It's so true. It's like all the positive aspects of social media are now being like brought to the forefront, and like what it was actually meant for, it's now being used for. It's actually keeping us all connected and like keeping in touch with everyone. And I feel like everyone wants to like utilize that power right now. So like you said, like meeting up like every Friday just online with your mates is now like such an event. and we can do it thanks to the power of like social media and things like Skype and Zoom and whatnot. And it's actually like an event to look forward to. And it's sort of like some of the positives that have come out of this is actually people, even though we are isolated and in our homes, we actually are still super connected. Like I probably chat to my mates like every day, still over like, you know, house party or WhatsApp or whatever. And so I never feel like I'm too far from anyone.
I had like 6 beers that night. I was like going out like, into like family, being like, "What the fuck am I doing?" Going out the room, being like, "I'm 6 beers down, and I've just been on my laptop all night. This feels really weird." You been doing anything like that, Devon?
Yeah, I've definitely been on like house party and stuff that much. I probably spoke to my mates more than I did before this whole lockdown was. Like before we were like all quite busy, so you'd like meet up when you could meet up, or when you had like practice and stuff like that for like rehearsals, and that's when I'd see them and then we hang out then. But for, like this house party, we weren't massively on like Zoom and stuff beforehand anyway. So this is kind of the whole hype of it all has kind of got us on there like every night playing those quiz games. Like it's addictive.
Don't they? Apps and stuff like that. Obviously, like the hand sanitizer people. There's been a few jammy bastards that have fucking done well from this, haven't they? From a like music point of view, Devon, is there anyone that you've seen online or seen people do stuff where you're like, oh shit, that was really useful? Or like, is there any like other artists where you think, oh, they've done something really cool and you like want to do something similar?
What in kind of terms of like
how like just someone like that you've admired or just another artist do something online or do some sort of project and you think, oh shit, I could do something like that? Or
there's not anyone like massive. Well, in fact, there's obviously like the obvious ones, like you have like the Lewis Capaldi and stuff like that. He's quite a big social media presence anyway. So looking at like his Instagram, you see like just how active he is. Anyway, of it, like aside from all this kind of pandemic that's going on, there's also like a few like lower level artists kind of on my like kind of radar length. Like there was a guy called Ed the Dog, who was doing the guitar lessons and stuff like that, and he was doing guitar lessons every night at 8 p.m. He's still doing them now, so if anyone's watching this, you can probably go check it out. And I saw that, and I was like, I think that's like a really cool thing to do. And obviously done that in my own kind of way, and kind of tried to like just whatever I see, just kind of recreate it in my own kind of manner, and just put my own kind of spin on things, and just really just use what I have.
Yeah, you've got your guitar, like that's what you can do, isn't it?
Exactly.
Have you been writing at all? Or like, do you think there's going to be songs that come out about coronavirus? Do you think it's going to be like heavy reference?
Yeah. Or they might be none because everyone will think, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. Everyone's going to do that. But
the market.
Yeah.
Album.
No, I think, I've been definitely trying to write, and like, there's going to be so many albums come September, just all dropping at the same time, I think. Like, the end of all this, there'll be just so much music out. But I also find it quite hard to concentrate. I think the fact that because there's like, I know that everyone else is doing the exact same thing, you've got that in your head constantly. So it's kind of like not like a natural writing process, because you know that, not that everyone's expecting you to be writing, but I feel like there's a lot of, fans and stuff probably be like, oh, you're probably writing loads now, aren't you? But for me, I kind of write when I write. I don't write. I'm not one of those artists that kind of bashes out a song every night. Like I write when I feel like it, and I make sure it's like I love it so much that I want to finish it. So it's a bit of a weird like
that has it just before you go to bed, that you're like in bed or you're asleep and you're like, oh fuck, like it kind of pisses you off to a point, and you're like, oh, you gotta get up. And
I've had that a few times, like with like lyrics and stuff like that, where I'll think of a lyric and I'll be like, nah, I remember that in the morning, trust. But then also like half my brain's like, nah, you gotta get up and just note this down, because otherwise you're just gonna feel like a mug in the morning.
Yeah, because I've done like some stand-up comedy and stuff, and I have that all the time. And you say to yourself, you're like, oh no, I will remember that in the morning, but I know that just not the way.
Once your head's on the pillow, like you're in
once you're on your phone and your face has been like lit up, and, like typing stuff, then like your brain's like active again, and you're like, oh shit, here we go. I mean, like it's sort of gone out the window now, having to like get up and go to bed at a normal time.
Yeah.
Like I was someone that would, when I was working, like normally I'd wake up at like 5:30. Like I got proper into like early riser, and now I'm 11 because I'm just like I got time.
Yeah, man. Everyone's in the same boat, so you don't have to feel bad.
Yeah, you said you were enjoying the work life balance, Joe.
Yeah, definitely. I think I still have to get up at a certain time, albeit a bit later than normal, which is quite nice. But
Or
yeah, I
11.
mean, definitely not 11, unfortunately. On the weekends for sure, but unfortunately not in the middle of the week.
He's
But it
not
does,
incriminating himself now.
huh?
You're not incriminating yourself.
No, literally. I mean, I got like yeah, we have like morning catch-ups, which is actually quite nice every morning. Like the whole team will jump on Zoom and we'll chat at like 9:45, 10 o'clock, and just sort of like make sure everyone's all right and like everyone's doing okay and set up for the day. But the work-life balance stuff is really really nice because obviously you're at home and you know what you've got to do and you get your work done, but you don't have that time where you've got to do the commute anymore. And lunchtime is a bit nicer because you can be around your family and you've got a bit more time to like go out for a run or do a bit of exercise in the afternoon. And there's no like strict, the parameters are a lot less strict now, and you don't have to be like at certain places at certain times. It's a bit more flexible, which just offers a bit more freedom in terms of like how you construct your life and the tasks you've got to do that day. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and obviously the most important thing is just making sure that you get out every now and then, because otherwise you just feel like you're stuck at home all the time, get cabin fever. But other than that, it's actually quite nice, feeling quite good mentally as well about it all.
In your little meetings you have with your team, or like I don't know if you can speak for everyone, but do people feel chilled out, or are people like losing their shit over this, or like what's going
No,
on?
I think so. My boss, she has two kids and a husband at home, and obviously her kids are off school now till September. So she is finding it. I think she can find it quite tough to like manage like the kids and her meetings and like sort of juggling that whole sort of schedule. But I think everyone else is feeling quite good about it. I know a lot of people have gone back to their parents' house and they're sort of just chilling, like up in the more countryside, rural areas of the UK. Um, but relatively, people are pretty chilled. I mean, there's a few projects we've kind of started that are on the go now that might be taking up a bit of time and getting people a bit worked up. But it's always good to be busy. But other than that, yeah, I think people are feeling pretty good about it all, really. I mean, how are you finding it all?
Mate, I'm loving it. I can't lie. I'm
Yeah.
life. Yeah, I'm really excited with this project because, like, for example, Devon, before we came on, I was talking to Joe about it. So the guy we had on yesterday was called Jay from the Zach and Jay show. I don't know if you know.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
Bristol. He's from Bristol, isn't he?
yeah. No, this is the guy, the northern guy.
Oh, right, yeah.
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 Like,
Got it.
and we just got him on. Like, I just dropped him an email, and he was like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll do it." So that things like that are exciting. You're like, okay, I've sort of got a thing of like, oh, who can I speak to now? Whereas before, I was like trawling through like so many projects and stuff, emailing people like, do you want to do some sort of interview, a podcast, like, or a bigger project, getting so much rejection. Whereas now, people are at home, and if I say to someone, oh, do you want to do like a half hour, 45-minute Skype call? They're like, yeah, fuck it, go on, man. Like, because
Exactly.
they're like, yeah, why not? So that was like a big boost, and I was like, okay, like, and he's obviously not even like a crazy, like, massive person. It was someone that I thought, oh, okay, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see who else we can get on. So yeah, I'm quite interested to do like a little like family tree almost to see who leads to who and where we can take this. But I think ultimately that aim was just to see how it's affecting different like industries. I mean, like, have you heard any murmurs of like big impacts on like the music industry through working at Universal, or is everyone pretty chill?
I mean, yeah, like I was saying, the artist communities, like the actual artists, being hit the hardest, and I think there's a lot of things in place now from like big record companies and companies like Spotify, where we're setting up funds and sort of relief methods to sort of help these artists through this trying time. So, the best thing to do always is to go and support your artists on Spotify and buy the merch while you can now. And I think a lot of these funds are being set up to sort of like give financial aid to a lot of these artists as well. And that's and obviously the live sector is the thing that's been hit the most. So like obviously Glastonbury got cancelled, all the festivals are going to get cancelled, everyone's live shows are getting postponed and cancelled. So that's really where a lot of this, a lot of the damage is lying, because it's such a big revenue stream for artists like at the moment, like live. So to have those things taken away and not be able to like get that income from those things, it's what a lot of artists depend on a lot of the time. So that's really where we've been hit the most. Like the record labels and stuff will be fine. We'll be able to adapt to this, and we are coming up with new projects now. And it's just sort of how we can use those projects to support the artists who need it the most, really.
Devon, if you don't mind me asking, like in terms of income, like how have you been affected? Like has there been like a massive cut off, or has there been like, obviously you don't have to talk about it in great detail, but impact of this?
So luckily I'm lucky enough to still live with my parents. Like I haven't moved out yet, so I don't have to worry about rent and stuff like that. So I've got another job. I've got a part-time job. I'm a graphic designer, but like I said, the creative industry seems to be always the one to go first when in times of kind of struggle. The creative industry is always kind of out the door. So I work freelance for like a couple of different companies, and I have one client that I kind of keep going to like throughout the weeks. This is kind of like my steady income, and they're kind of, they're not working anymore. So that means I'm not working anymore. So, but luckily, like I said, I'm at home. I don't have rent to pay, so I'm okay. For like, I can just kind of pick it back up when everything's ready to go again, as long as I don't spend all my money.
I have some money saved, but I mean, where are you going to spend it? To be honest,
Exactly.
there's that thing. Like I have a friend that was telling me how much money he probably spends on pints, and like how healthy the bank accounts will look after this, because you can easily like spend like hundreds of pounds on a big weekend, especially when the sun comes out and you're in a beer garden, like. And contactless cards coming in is probably like the greatest danger to your bank account ever.
Yeah.
Because you've got no idea what's going on.
Like the amount of coffees that you get like every day probably like add up as well. So like, and like deliveries aren't coming to your house like that much anymore now. Like a lot of companies aren't like shipping out like stuff that's not essential. So it's not like you can just buy, lots of clothes and stuff like that. So
I mean, who's going to see you wear them as well?
Yeah.
You do a little fashion show for your family, but like there is in that way. What have you guys been doing like in your spare time then? Because obviously you've got a lot more time on your hands now. Any tips for people? Because I think that seems to be a currency now. People are like, oh, you should watch this on Netflix, or you should do this, you should do that.
Oh mate, I started watching that Tiger King show last night. Have you heard about this? Crazy, like that's it. Like I think Netflix, I'm gonna just try and complete Netflix in the next like 6 months. But Tiger King's pretty nuts. I definitely watch that. I found a lot of time to like listen to new music as well. Like all the music, I was like, oh, I need to listen to the album. And I found a lot of time to get through it all quite nicely, which has been good. And then just like exercising, always just going for a run or like doing something at home.
What about you, Devon?
I don't exercise, so that's out the window.
It's not a requirement right now. You're a young man. You'll be all right.
Yeah. Tips. I don't know. I've just started. I watch a lot of movies anyway, so I'm not a massive Netflix guy. I don't have it, so I just been watching like I like rent movies on YouTube, and I just like scroll through there, and I like pick which one I just like rent that for the night. But yeah, I don't know. Tips like other than like serious things for like artists, like I would just say like startup artists like use these weeks like to your advantage and just start writing, and just use like every day to your advantage. Like if you've got time off work, just like and if it's paid as well, that's a bonus. Like just hone in your craft and start up a project or something like that. If you might not be an artist, but you might like be like yourself and start a project, like start that thing you always kind of like wanted to do. Like use this 3 weeks and kind of do it. Get
Could be a lot of emerging artists now. A lot of people looking at that piano or guitar in their house, like maybe it's time.
Yeah,
and they'll god awful stuff. But there'll be a few gems in there, I'm sure.
Yeah, this is the start.
Yeah, I'll definitely like I was saying, this is kind of like a free hit in a way, where people can just get their head down and make something happen. I think people are starting to realise that, because I think at first, naturally, the shock of what happened, and then probably like the semi-joy of just being at home, like just almost like getting a holiday straight away. I think a lot of people just like being potatoes and watching up Netflix, completing it. You're not alone. You know? A lot of people completing Netflix, I'm sure, 100%. But yeah, it's just a crazy time. I should probably listen to some more different music. Actually, that's definitely something that I'll be doing. I hadn't even thought of that, Joe. You're the first person that said catching up on music. You never hear someone say that. Are there any new people that you want to give a shout out to that you've liked recently?
Other than when I'm banging Dev singles 24/7, who else am I listening to? I listen to this band called Bamily that are really, really good. I've been listening to, there's a band called Hippocampus, and I've been listening to their albums quite a lot. Really, really good. Who else? I've gone back in time as well. I bought Dr. Dre's The Chronic, because you can't get it on Spotify. So I bought that on iTunes, and I've like gone back in time a little bit and listened to a few like classic albums there. So yeah, give those albums a listen if you get a minute, for sure.
What about you, Dad?
Similar to what Joe is, I haven't really found any. Well, I probably have, but I couldn't think of it off the top of my head of like new artists. But what I've done, I found myself doing recently is I've listened to like the whole of the Strokes discography from like their first album all the way through to like their latest like single, and I've found myself just become like obsessed with them, and like I've just like listened to everything they've ever done, and it's like it feels really cool to like find an old band like that, but to me it kind of still feels new. So that's like first experience with like the Strokes, and I'm just managed to like listen to it all, and kind of realize how great they actually are.
I think they were supposed to bring out an album really soon, and it might be pushed back now.
Right. Oh,
like in April. I thought they were going to bring a new record out in April, and now it's been pushed back. I know. That's it. I think it's tough because like a lot of these release dates now are getting pushed back. There were so many good albums supposed to be coming out in the next few months, and they're all being like postponed till like September, October, November. It's tough.
There we go.
Any songs and stuff that you've been working on that you were like, oh, I'm nearly done with this, and now you're like, oh shit, I've got some time? Like, do you change like songs? I don't really know the process of putting a song together. Do you like think done and then go back to it, or you normally just?
Yeah, sometimes. I often, if I really like the song in the moment of writing it, I kind of really hone in on it and kind of get it like fully produced and stuff. Sometimes I have ideas that I kind of just leave if I like kind of get bored at the end of recording it, and then I might come back whenever. But usually I kind of just like starting a new idea. So it's fun to start a new idea. I think I've been lucky with this one. We've managed to kind of get the next single kind of together before all this kind of kicked off. So it's kind of like, I was in the studio in London recording before the week of the lockdown, so I got back home with like a finished like brand new single kind of ready to go. So hopefully it kind of fills the gap between now when this all kind of kicks back in. But
going to be releasing that soon.
Yes, hopefully soon. Yeah, hopefully like sometime in this like space. Yeah,
we'll give Joe something else to listen to.
Exactly, mate. I'm waiting, mate. I'm waiting for that next one.
He's probably been listening to it already, but yeah.
So what's been the process of you two like working together? Like, have I don't know how did it come about?
Because like from the beginning, like how did we first start off?
Yeah, Devon, where are you from?
I'm from the Forest of Dean in Gloucestershire, so like south west, so literally nowhere near London. But my manager I've always been kind of like bouncing between London and here, trying to get like my foot in the door in the scene. Really, you probably know the story better than me a bit, Joe. I think, what was it, like the Great Escape thing that we kind of?
So yeah, we like run a company called Spin Up in the UK, which is like a music distribution service, and we ran a competition for people to play the Great Escape, which is a new music festival down in Brighton. And Dev uploaded his track, and the label really liked it, and I think from there we started keeping a few tabs on him, and then we signed him like a couple of months later. And once we signed Dev, we released the first single that did really well, and we signed him for 3 more for the rest of the year. So we just released one called Belong to You, which came out in January, and the next one, Trust Issues, is coming out at the end of May. So it started off just because Devon was basically putting his music up online, and we found him that way, and it's coming along really nicely. But yeah, I mean it's kind of a bit kind of a bit of a classic story, really, isn't it? Like bedroom producer puts his music up online, and here we are. The
Well,
rest is history.
at least you got online. Like, think back in the day, like you would have had no one to give this to. If you got the recording stuff, you would have been sitting there holding it at home, like, right.
Well,
Kind
I
of.
literally saw the other day, like someone was like, "How did bands in like the 80s and 90s get signed?" And I was like, "Yeah, like what did people just go to like every show there possibly was like around their town, around their city, like to find these new bands? Because the internet is such like a pivotal part of like how you discover new music or how you like look at new music now."
Yeah, I watched Supersonic about
Yes.
this on Netflix the other day actually, and like there's that bit where there was just some guy there. It's always some guy
Yeah.
there. Who's just like, yes,
Like
yes,
the
this is
biggest
the one.
the biggest record label owner in Scotland just like rocks up to their like gig in King Tut's or whatever, and it's just like,
Yeah,
oh, best band ever, mate. Get them on the
F said
bill.
Glastonbury. It'll be like, yeah, Joe found me online. It was alright.
It's not
Yeah.
sexy, is it?
Big
It's
Yeah,
not
story.
sexy at
he
all.
seemed like a sound lad. Then coronavirus happened. Uh, it was put everything to shit. But no, it's cool. You can still release stuff, and that seems to be the way for everyone now.
Yeah, I mean, the recorded side of it hasn't changed too much, like the process in terms of like you going into the studio, Dev, and sort of making a song and producing it and then sending it over to us. All that can be done online anyway. So, the recorded side of it all stayed pretty similar and pretty much the same.
Yeah, I think that was like the first time I went into the studio to actually like have another producer work on a track. So that was the first time we'd done that. Like the tracks previous to that, I just self-produced in my bedroom and then sent it to someone else to mix. So if we needed to do that again, in times we're like desperate, we could do that. Like it's no problem. So I'm lucky we've got that kind of arrow in the quiver.
I think that's actually a really nice point for a lot of artists at home to remember. Like if you've got instruments and stuff with you, then that is possible because like a lot of people I'm sure have done it the way you've done it.
Yeah.
You can do it from home and then send it somewhere and someone can, like you say, mix it.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to be one of those people that's like a millionaire and got the studio in the house, but I guess you're not quite there with that.
No, but you don't need the expensive gear like people. And I know a lot of people say this, but you really, really don't need like so much expensive mics and stuff. As long as you've got like an okay mic and an okay interface, there's so many like great plugins that you could get to kind of kickstart it. And then once you send it to like someone that knows how to mix a track really well, then that's like that's what takes the track from like being just kind of a Logic project to like a finished song. It's like a really nice mix on the track. So yeah.
Yes, that's kind of what I was thinking about when I said, there's constraints in place, but it'll make you realize how little you need in terms of not just like making music, but living.
Yeah.
Like you need all this like other stuff. You don't need all these clothes. You don't need all this like. You can get on with life. Like I've always romanticized the idea of living in a van and like going touring around like Canada and all like places like that. And I've watched loads of videos and like people said that makes you realize. I mean, those people are pretty extreme. They're like, you don't need a shower, you don't need a toilet and stuff like that. They like show you their water bottle. You're like, oh, that's pretty gross. But like, I definitely think. I mean, this will surely help with like issues to do with like consumerism and climate change. And I mean, if this is a sign of what's coming with like climate change and stuff, then that's terrifying. Because like there will be this panic and stuff, but like in all walks of life, hopefully people understand that you can get by with pretty minimal means of living and making music. They need to remember that you can make.
I mean, I know there's like a lot of like articles. I don't know how many of them are true, saying that like the climate, the like environmental climate is like drastically improved just over like a couple of weeks. So I don't know if this goes on for any longer and the results kind of get bigger, that that our planet is kind of sorting itself out as we kind of like stop. It'll be like proof that maybe we can like just have a 5-minute break and just wait for the planet to kind of like rebuild itself.
I mean, like I said, maybe it's meant to be. Before we round up, I've got a few questions. Deb, this one's for you. Favorite venue / show?
Favorite venue / show. I played the Fleece in Bristol, Dot to Dot, and that was like our biggest show when we played Dot to Dot, and we had no clashes, so it was like 400 people like in a venue, and that's like the biggest show in venue show we've ever played. So that was pretty cool.
Have you done much touring, like around different parts of the UK?
I've not been on loads of tours. I've been on one tour with Stripes when this all kind of started off, which was really good bit of experience. But I have found myself going to like most places in the UK for like one-off shows and stuff like that, supporting. So, yeah.
What was the process like at the start? Would you just regularly go to places that were local to you and do like shows there? Is there that sort of thing, or
there's not really a music scene around Gloucester? So luckily, I used the internet and I found a manager who is based up in Dundee. So this is why I like the relationship's a bit weird. Yeah. There's like one venue in Gloucestershire which is like a 600 cap venue, and obviously no bands that are starting out can play that. And even when big bands come into Gloucester to play that venue, they struggle to sell it out. I'm not going to name drop, but yeah, it's a really weird music scene. There's like no one really goes to watch live music, so you kind of use the internet to your advantage and kind of just, you know, put your foot in the door, and that's how I managed to get a manager. And then he kind of was in the industry and kind of took me out to these different places and was like, well, you need to be here, you need to be in Bristol, which is like the nearest city which has a scene. So yeah, but even then it's a struggle because you're not from Bristol, so you can't get in the scene properly in Bristol because you're from Gloucester. So it's hard, but yeah, we made it work.
Got to adapt in these circumstances. Joe, I'll ask you a question actually. Someone asked, how is the dynamic of working with the label playing out during lockdown? I mean, we've talked about that a bit already, but
yeah, yeah, it's just about adapting really. Like a lot of the projects we wanted to do over the next few months have obviously come to a bit of a halt or been put on pause. So it's just finding new things really, and like working with the team is just as fun. Like if I ever wanted to chat one-to-one with anyone, you're only like a Zoom call away. Everyone's like really easy to get hold of, and no one's like too far away. And you have meetings very regularly, so the dynamic hasn't changed too much. I guess obviously in the actual office environment, it's a bit easier just to dip in and out of people's office or go over to someone's desk. But ultimately, like it's been all right, and yeah, just just finding new projects to get your teeth into really has been like the main thing. And but everyone's been really good at coming together and collaborating on those kind of things. So it's been quite good.
Do you have like a group of fellow musicians and artists that like have people been supporting each other, not like in terms of like with food and financially and all that stuff, but just like emotionally in a way, or just like chat with each other?
Yeah, obviously, like with the scene in Gloucester, there isn't many artists, but through the internet, through Instagram, you kind of, yeah, I've like made a few kind of friends, if you want to call it that, like in the industry now from just being around like London a bit more and stuff. So you see that everyone is in the same situation. You see all the stories they put up every day. They're literally thinking the exact same things as you. So it's comforting to see. Not comforting that they're kind of like struggling, but like we all like can see that we're all in the same boat. So it's just nice to know that, yeah.
I think everyone's hoping that when we get out of this, we'll all be a bit more united and there'll be a bit more of a common understanding and appreciation for each other.
Yeah.
Which I think will only work in your favour for both of you.
Yeah, I'm hoping so.
Yeah,
definitely. And I'm excited to see how it worked for me. So thank you both for being involved. I think you're number 6 or 7 along the way. I'm trying to do one a day, but like I'm almost thinking I'm going to do more than one a day.
Definitely.
I want big numbers. I want, if you guys have any ideas, like I want quirky people. I want people that are famous as fuck. I want just people that are just a little bit interesting. That someone that lives in a bush, like also like the coronavirus. I don't care.
good one.
I want to hear from them. So yeah, like I said, thank you guys.
Thank you for having us. Like, it's a really great initiative, like what you're doing here, and like it's fantastic to see so many different creatives and sort of people you're talking to, and like get everyone's experience from it. Because I think you're right. Like, this is 100% going to unite not just people in the UK, but hopefully around the globe. Like, you know, everyone's going through this right now, and I think if that's what it can, if that's like the one positive that comes out of this, everyone has a bit of a common understanding. It'd be great, and it's really good to hear everyone's stories. So no, thank you for having us both. It's been great.
It's going to be interesting. Just like the first few people I've done it, like I've done it with a doctor. The really interesting one we did, which was like 2 before you guys, was Tom, who I work with. His cousin is a teacher out in South Korea, and like just hearing everything that they do, like, and like how on top of it they are in terms of hygiene before this anyway, just the way they live, like that was really interesting. So I'm hoping that I'm like super woke by the time I get to like 100, and I've just got like, little bits of like everyone's expertise.
There you are. So much.
Yeah, I'll start listening to your single on repeat now, Deb.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
And then hopefully I'll hear the new one soon.
Yeah.
Nice one.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, lad. Thank you.
Nice one. Thank you so much, Ollie. Cheers, mate.
See you later.
Bye.